Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's Star Report. This is Jason. Here I am at New Dimensions Crystals and Reiki in downtown Brenham, Texas. And this is the Star Report for March the 6th through the 12th. And as always, we begin with the solar weather. It is our closest star. There's been some active sunspots that are on the Earth facing disk, and they aren't currently producing any CMEs, but they are increasing in complexity, so they might throw off some CMEs or some solar flares here soon. But there is nothing currently coming at the planet. There was a plasma filament, which is sort of a debris thing that sort of releases sometimes some plasma from the sun, and that was facing mostly down. There could be a glancing blow that's going to happen. If it does, probably Saturday or Sunday over the weekend. Those kinds of things are going to cause very similar solar storms and interactions as a solar flare impact would. So pay attention. The things that could happen for solar flares is heart palpitations. If you are on a spectrum of any kind of mental ailment, depression, ADD, all that stuff, it can trigger events like that when those things hit. So look out for over the weekend with the sun doing stuff like that. Zodiacally, that's not even, it probably is. The zodiac sign, we're still in Pisces until March 21st. And so Pisces really is alchemically relating to your feet. So if you've been having a lot of grounding issues, or you've been feeling super heavy in your feet, or maybe even sometimes could be experienced as a mild form of neuropathy, like where it gets all tingly and painful in the feet. That's where all the energy is gathering as it prepares March 21st to go back up into Aries, which is going to be up in the crown again, right around the pituitary gland and the crown chakra, the golden fleece area of the ram. And so pay attention to that. Those of you who sort of predate, or not predate, prequel everything and sort of are moving along the track, you might already start to begin to feel issues with the head. Sometimes that extra energy in the head could trigger, although it could reduce people that have chronic migraines and stuff like that, which leads us into today, Wednesday, the 6th, today. And today we've got really the cosmic kite, which is several planets that are stretched out like a kite over the solar system. And that really gives us a lifting area, sort of uplifting energy. And that uplifting energy could be more energy, could be restlessness. Those kinds of things could be the effect of that. But Chiron is really going to be the planet, or it's an asteroid, that is adding to the energy. Mars and Venus, you can see them in the sky next to the moon. And that Chiron energy is really going to be taking judgment away from our past, right? So a lot of times we start to have these epiphanies about ourselves, and we start to judge ourselves for having not seen or being dumb or whatever. And so Chiron's really going to be extracting those feelings of judgment from the self and replacing with kindness, like the kindness that you would show somebody else, like, oh, I'm sorry this happened to you. I had a similar experience, and you feel bad for that person, but you judge yourself. So it's going to shift you to having those feelings of empathy for others and direct it towards the self. And then that energy is really going to also help you focus on reigniting the self rather than external forces of what does it look like. Right. A lot of times when we discover these things about ourselves, we all of a sudden shut down because what if somebody else finds out these things about us? And so this is going to be a real shift today, Wednesday. With that energy, moving us into tomorrow, March the 7th, Thursday. Mars is going to dominate the day, right? Still up there in the sky. Inner strength sort of peaks, right? You're going to need all of your inner fortitude to sort of help you break from this past, right? So I would sort of say that the energy of Thursday is going to be much like, and Mars is going to be funding it. It's going to be much like you're sort of stuck in the mud, and you sort of get out of that mud. A little bit of a time, maybe you sort of come out a little bit of time, back up, sort all the things that you use, maybe get a board out, all the things you use to get unstuck from the mud is going to be the energy, or the gas is going to be Mars to get you out. And that's going to really help you move towards change, which leads us into Friday the 8th. So after freeing yourself Thursday, the emotions are going to flood in. So it's going to be an emotional sort of like, oh my God, I'm unstuck. I can move forward. And the thing that you're going to pay attention to on Friday is a lot of times when we get sort of stuck in places, Abigail, no. Oh, you want me to turn on? Come here. Hey, everybody, I'm doing a report, and my daughter is up here today. So I'm going to turn on her iPad real quick. A little bit of life of Jason. Here you go. And then go take that in the other room. Thanks. And so that energy of having freed yourself with that energy of Mars, right? A lot of times when we sort of get stuck and we take ourselves into a new direction, we're not pointing the direction we thought we were, right? So you're going to want to take an inventory on Friday of the energy that is sort of showing you what direction you're pointing. Where have you become unstuck in, and what direction are you pointing? And is that where you want to go, or is that something entirely new and maybe even better than what you thought you were going to get into? So that's the energy of Friday. Saturday and Sunday, the 9th and 10th of March, is going to be the energy of the super new moon. And it's going to dominate. Uh, you know, full moons are about, 24 to 48 hours. So pick a date, and then also what side of the planet area when it's full moony, or super new moony. And so the energy that's going to really, the new moon is about new starts. Um, Things to do would be go outside and light a fire pit. In the darkness, sort of becoming the light in the darkness would be a great ritual or practice to add to that. And the supermoon just means that it's closest, right? So we have a close new moon that we're not going to be able to see. And it is the second new moon of, I think, second supermoon of 3 that are going to happen in 2024. So just sort of notice when the moon is close, full or not full, that's the capacity, right? So it's going to be highlighting with no light. It's going to be highlighting the hidden capacities of you to hold the space to get all these things done for you to go into this new direction, right? So the new moon is going to give you the energy and the guide to do these new things that you got unstuck from, right? So rather than rehashing or extracting yourself from the past, you're moving into new pastures, and this super new moon is going to help. Which leads us into Monday, the 11th of March. That's the beginning of the 11th week of the year. And so 11 and 11. Ooh, we love 11s. And it is also the beginning of the eclipse season, right? So it's a 2-week pre-shadow of the lunar eclipse, which is happening at the end of the month or towards the end of the month. And so it's just an energy that keeps you moving in that new direction that the super new moon is going to give you. Which leads us into Tuesday, the last day of the report, the 12th. And the 12th is going to have the energy of Uranus has a long post shadow because it was in retrograde and yada yada so long. So that's the end of the Uranus retrograde post shadow. And so Uranus is the planet of sudden change. And so any kind of sudden change that you've had since the beginning of the new year is really going to solidify, and or you could have some lingering sudden changes that sort of come upon you, right? This could be a new job, this could be living situation, this could be relationships. So Tuesday is really going to be a big day for sudden change, or for you to stop doubting these sudden changes as not being permanent. They're going to sort of lock themselves in on Tuesday. And just kind of the thought that I was sort of feeling about that is the juice worth the squeeze, right? So is the pressure that you've gone through to get here worth it? And I would say that the answer is yes. And so you're going to sort of see that all the changes or the sudden changes that you've had happen over the last 2.5 months would be absolutely things that are going to lead you in directions that's going to make all of the work you've done on yourself and all the suffering and trauma um, have some meaning and have some benefit for you. Which leads us into the rest of the month. It's March. A couple of things that are happening. The 19th of March, so that would be next week, or during our next report, is the beginning of the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. Right, we're currently in a retrograde free world, and that retrograde free world has sort of kept us going, right? And we could have a whole lot of sudden changes because nothing's happening to hold us back. But we're going to start the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde, and it's not the devil or anything like that super bad going to happen, but it really is sort of a replay of communications and transportation. And then sometimes relationships are evolved around that, right? So sort of look with that pre-shadow to start realizing how are you going to get to places, and maybe modes of transportation are changing for yourself, right? How do you get from point A to point B? How do you grow from this to that? How do you make this amount of money to this amount of money? All those kinds of things can start to happen on the 19th. Also, the 19th into the 20th, depending on the side of the planet you're on, is spring equinox. Always a good, powerful energy day of just balance. And of course, it's the spring equinox, and new life is springing to action. So all of these things that we sort of did during winter of introspection and the moving forward is now it's sort of comes into bloom. 24th and 25th is going to be that full moon eclipse. It's got a penumbral eclipse, meaning it's not total. And that is going to start the 2-week eclipse portal, because we have the solar eclipse, the full solar eclipse or total solar eclipse that's happening in April. So that's going to be the 2 weeks in between there, 2-ish weeks in between there, where the portal of eclipse season, right? And that's radical changes, radical moves, radical whatever. Look for probably social and cultural stuff to sort of happen or start to happen around that time. So a lot of stuff comes to resolution or intensifies, right? So just pay attention to things that you may or may not be following in national, international, and world news, interstellar news if you're into aliens. All kinds of things could be happening during that eclipse portal. And that leads us into March. The 29th is the last significant day I see. And that's going to be the first 22 master day of 2024. And that is the end of March prequel or preview. There we go. That's a good word. And let's see what's going on here. As usual, you can sign up online for any kind of sessions you need if you're in the Brenham area. Like and subscribe the YouTube channel. Share it if you can. The more people get to see this, the better it is. I like helping people. The shop, if you're local, is going to be closed on Saturday. This Saturday. What is it? The Saturday? I think that's the 9th. And could be the 9th. Whatever the Saturday is, that's when we're closed. I could look down at my notes and check what day was Saturday, but I'm not gonna. And so, yeah, I'll be closed all day. I have to go pick up one of my puppies from dog training he's been in for several weeks now. So they got to go teach us everything they taught the dog. So that's the only day they can do it. They only do pickups on Saturdays, and they want the whole family there. So that's where I will be on Saturday and why the shop will be closed. If you don't watch this video and you don't know and you come to the shop, I am sorry that you missed me. I think that's everything. I'm glad that y'all were all here. And until next time, everybody, many blessings.